Hey folks, Eric Bray, Focus Fishing Guide Service. Got another video fishing report for you for Table Rock Lake. It is actually Monday, January 23rd. I got a full day tomorrow, so rather than try to get this done after a full day at 4 o'clock and then not get it posted till Wednesday, figured we'd go ahead and knock it out today while we got a little bit of extra time. As far as our lake level is concerned, we actually came up a little bit. We're at 907.5 as of this morning. Corey is running water though. They've been running water all day today. Started about 7 or 8 o'clock this morning, and looks like they're going to run water all day today. Haven't seen a forecast for tomorrow yet, but it definitely looks like they're going to be running water at least all day today, and probably get it back down to 907.1, 907.2 before this is all said and done. We did get a little bit of rain over the weekend, especially on Saturday night into Sunday. And that should normally would bring the lake level up, but I think the Corps is anticipating that. Why they're keeping it at 907, I'm not exactly sure, but they are definitely running water today, and I would imagine they'll run some water tomorrow. Water temperature, it actually warmed up. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it was upper 40s, or especially around the Kimberling City area. I was there on Friday, there on Sunday, and I was seeing 46 to 48. Which last week we were down all the way to 45, but it's warmed up to about 48 degrees. So as far as a shad kill or anything like that, I don't see it happening unless we get a real strong cold snap here over the next 2 or 3 weeks that will start killing off some shad. Right now it's like fishing late fall, early winter, or early spring. We got a lot of fish moved up shallow. We got a lot of fish still out deep. We got couple of really strong bites going on right now. If you guys are coming down, so you're going to fish the lower end of the lake, I will tell you the lower end has been the toughest end of the lake. I think a lot of it has to do with the amount of current that the Corps is running, because obviously, you know, those fish down there close to the dam are going to feel that current. It's going to draw those shad out of those creeks a lot more than it is, say, up into the White or up into the James or even in the Kimberling City area. So the bite down at the lower end has been quite a bit tougher. Still catching a few on a crankbait, wiggle wart, rock crawler, that sort of thing. Keying on those channel swing banks and keying on those chunk rock 45-degree banks, but it's not been as strong as it was the last couple of weeks. I think a lot of those fish have pulled out with the shad pulling out. If you're going to catch them using a crankbait, they're going to be towards the mouths of the creeks, not really towards the backs where we'd expect them to be when we get rain. They'll move to the backs. When you've got a little bit of runoff, you can catch them towards the backs, but most of them have been biting closer to the mouths of the creeks. Same deal with the stick bait bite. Either a Megabass Vision 110, Spromic stick, been doing okay with both of those. Steeper banks, more transition type banks, more bluffy type banks, especially if they've got some isolated timber on them. But again, they're towards the mouths of the creeks. They're not really towards the backs like we expect to see them whenever we get rain and when we expect to see them this time of year. Deep bite's still fairly strong down there. If I were going to fish the lower end of the lake this week, I would probably start with a deep bite, just because it's been a lot more consistent than a crankbait or a stick bait on the lower end of the lake. But it's not great, guys. You got to find shad. With them moving this water, it's pulled a lot of those shad out to the mouths of the creeks, even up into the main lake, so it's made it harder to find those deep fish. We are catching a few down there by the dam, but definitely not my favorite end of the lake. Scuba spoon's still working really well. Rapala jig and wrap's working really well, and a drop shot rig. I actually did better with a drop shot rig last week than we did the spoon or the jig and wrap, and the drop shot rig with either a shad shaped worm or a dream shot, or even some on a UV finesse worm this past week. Go to the Kimberling City area and it's like fishing a different lake. Much better bite in the Kimberling City area. Really good crankbait bite. Fish are about halfway back into the creeks, out to the mouths of the creeks. It seems like them running water hasn't affected those fish in the Kimberling City area like it has in the dam area. Wiggle wart, rock crawler, those sort of things. Same sort of banks, transition banks, 45-degree chunk rock. Those sort of banks are definitely key when you're throwing a crankbait. Really good stick bait bite. You're not going to catch a ton of fish on a stick bait, but you're going to get better quality throwing a stick bait right now. Spromic stick's working well. Megabass Vision 110, both of those are working well. Look for those steeper transition type banks or ledgy type banks that have some gravel sloughs or gravel drops in them. Those seem to be best, especially if you've got a little bit of isolated timber. A couple of good banks that I was fishing last week, you'd have a big hunk of rock and transition to gravel and then go back to rock. those seem to be holding a lot of fish on a stick bait right now. And then the deep bite is really good in the Kimberling City area. Most of the fish are coming out of trees or around trees in the creeks, about halfway back to the mouths of the creeks, and most of them are coming on either a scuba spoon or on a jig and wrap. Caught a few on a drop shot rig. Seems like you can find a group of fish, catch them on a spoon or a jig and wrap. They get a little bit used to that, switch up to a drop shot rig with either a shad shaped worm or a dream shot or even a finesse worm, and you'll catch a few more once they kind of turn off of the spoon or the jig and wrap. And go up into the James. Again, I haven't been up above Cape Fear. Haven't really talked to a lot of guys up above Cape Fear. Don't know if there's a lot of fishing going on. I know there's a good crappie bite up there. I do have a buddy who's been fishing crappie up that way for the last couple of weeks, catching them on your typical crappie baits around pole timber and around brush piles on the channel swing, main lake channel swing banks, and in some of the bigger creeks like Woolly and Piney up that way. So if you're looking for crappie, there is a decent crappie bite going on up the James right now. Bass fishing from about Campers Point down to Ants Creek or down to the confluence with the White. You've got a solid stick bait bite. Again, the James has the coldest water on the lake, so stick bait bite's a little bit further along. Seems like most of the fish are towards the mouths of the creeks or on the main lake, on those transition banks from big rock to small rock to pea gravel, around pole timber, especially isolated pole timber. Vision 110 is working really good. So is the Spro stick. Decent jig bite up around there as well, especially around boat docks that have brush on them. In the mouths of the creeks and on the main lake, or even in Ants Creek. A lot of fish coming out of Ants Creek on a jig over the weekend, targeting deeper brush piles. And by deeper, I don't mean 40, 50 feet deep, more like 10 or 15 feet deep or even 20 feet deep. Those deeper brush piles towards the ends of those smaller docks have been really key, especially on points. The Jewel Pro Spider jig's been really good, and the Jewel Magnum casting jig. Both of those have been working really good. Okeechobee Blue, Green Pumpkin Candy, typical gullers, and doing a little bit better with like a beaver for a trailer versus using a speed craw or a pocket chunk. And there's an A-rig bite. I'm not a big A-rig guy, but I know a lot of guys are catching them on an A-rig, both main lake and in the creeks around standing timber. Most of the fish are coming about where you catch them on a stick bait. You know, the boat about 25 foot of water, and most of the fish are coming in about 18 foot of water suspended above the trees. Go to the White River and fish the White River on Tuesday and I think Wednesday of last week. Actually really a strong bite in the White River. Great stick bait bite. If I were going to go try to target fish on a stick bait and I just wanted to catch 5 good fish right now, I would go up the White River from Baxter about to Shell Knob. Most of those fish are on channel swing transitions, again, halfway back into the creeks to the main lake. Really seems to be where most of the stick bait fish are coming from. Look for those transitions where you go from a bluff to smaller rock all the way down to gravel. Work the whole transition and really work over anywhere where you've got standing timber, especially isolated standing timber. You don't want a whole big forest of trees. You want 2 or 3 trees on that bank. That's where that'll concentrate the fish and make them a lot easier to catch. The Spro stick's working, and the Megabass Vision 110 did really well with Megabass and the Tennessee shad last week. That was definitely my best color. Crankbait bite's working, especially if you get a little bit of wind. We had some wind on Tuesday of last week, and we caught them decent on a crankbait, fishing around channel swing banks, 45-degree chunk rock banks. Wigglewort and Spro rock crawler both working really well. Most of those fish are between 8 and 10 feet deep. If you get the wind, it'll push them up a little bit shallower. But key on those transition areas where it breaks down from big rock to smaller rock, that really seem to be where we're getting most of the bites. And a good deep bite. A lot of fish coming in the mouths of the creeks on either a Jewel scuba spoon, a jigging wrap, or the drop shot with either a shad shaped worm or a dream shot. Look for those fish to be about halfway back to the mouths of the creeks around timber, but not necessarily in the timber. Last week in a couple of the creeks up there around Baxter, seemed like we'd go over a tree and there'd be a bare spot where you know, maybe a 25, 30 yard spot where it was bare. Fish would be glued to the bottom 50 foot deep. You drop down and the whole bottom would blow up. So look for the fish to be either in the trees or in between the trees, anywhere from about 35 to 70 feet deep. Weather's great. It's supposed to be 65 and windy tomorrow. Should be fun to be on the water in the wind. But fishing's good. Fishing's good. It's going to continue to be good. Got a few things going on besides just the fishing. Remember, we are running winter rates. We're going to run those all the way through February. So if you want to book a trip, get a hold of us in February. Let me know. You'll save $50. Another thing we got going on, Color Tent here in Springfield. I'm going to start doing a monthly live fishing report on their morning show. I'm going to start that off this Wednesday. I think it'll be around 6:30 when I'll be doing that. So if you're in the area and you want to watch that, that'll be cool. And fishing's good. If you guys are thinking about coming down, maybe you want to learn how to fish deep. Great time to come down and learn how to fish deep. Want to learn how to fish stick bait. Man, now's the time to come because they're really starting to get on that stick bait. If you want to learn how to fish a crankbait or jig, we're still catching them on a crankbait or jig. March, the crankbait bite will really start to kick in again. So if you're thinking about coming down, want to hire a guide, give me a call. It's Focus Fishing Guide Service. You can reach me at 417-860-4743. Hit my website, focusfishing.com. Shoot me an email or book online. Book online, we get back to you as soon as we can to confirm your dates. Real easy to do. Just look at the calendar, see when we're available, get it booked, send your deposit in, we're good to go. But I really appreciate you guys watching the videos. Thanks for subscribing on YouTube as well. Thanks for watching. Can't wait to hear from you. We'll see you on the water.